Thank you for joining me today on Paint a Beautiful Picture. I want to talk to you today about mental health. Within the last 10 or 15 episodes, we've talked about things like suicide and other issues that are related to mental health. I want to tell you that just in the same way that you are responsible for your physical health, in other words, you need to eat healthy foods and you need to exercise, you need to get adequate rest when you are ill, you need to go to the doctor and get medication. If you have something like asthma, you need to be taking your medication. You are responsible for your health. Do you know that you are also responsible for your mental health? In other words, you have to be able to know when you're not doing okay. When you're stressed beyond your limit or you're getting awfully close to it. When you are frustrated and you have no outlet for all that frustration and you need to do something about it. And you need to be aware of your children's mental health. If you barely know your kid, if you don't really talk to them, if you think a conversation is on the way home from soccer practice, you go, "How was school today?" And your kid goes, "Good." And you say, "How was soccer?" "Good." "Do you have a lot of homework?" "Not really." "Okay." And that's it? And you think that's a conversation? Whoa! Yeah, you're out of touch with your kid and you wouldn't have a clue how his or her mental health actually was. By being a good example and taking good care of yourself, both physically and mentally, and I might add definitely spiritually as well, then you are helping your child understand the need for them taking care of themselves in the same way. But how do you take care of your child's mental health? Well, first of all, you notice if they're not eating well, if they are not sleeping well, or the converse, they're just sleeping all the time, if they are more withdrawn than they ever have been before, or if they're more animated than they've ever been before. They're just going on and on about this and on about that, and you've never heard them be quite like this before. Uh, yeah, you need to be paying attention to how your child is behaving. Then you need to be able to ask them, and if you have the background of a relationship, so tell me what's going on with you. If it's very, very difficult, they may not be able to tell you. Then you need to spend more time with them. You need to understand that it is going to require my investment of meaningful time with them day after day after day before they're going to feel safe enough to open up and tell me what in the world is really going on with them. So those investments in your child's mental health are a huge thing. You need to be able to say to them, "I've seen some changes in you lately and I'm concerned about that." Not on their back. That's probably plenty right there. Or, "I notice you don't really hang out with Thomas anymore. Did y'all have a fight? I see that you are a little more angry and a little more frustrated and a little more quickly agitated lately. Can you talk to me about what that is?" Pay attention to your child and ask them questions that are relevant to what's going on and be as specific as you can. When you don't know what the underlying issue is, at least help them to see the external stuff that you can see. They may not even notice it. Many times I can tell you when people are depressed, they don't realize they're depressed. Until they're pretty significantly depressed, they don't notice it. You may be able to handle what's going on with your child and talk through it. You may need help. You may need a pastor or a professional counselor, a psychologist. But whatever is going on with your child, help them to understand. Just as surely as I'm committed to feeding you good food and taking you places where we physically interact, whether that's skiing or skating or playing baseball, I'm concerned also about your mental health. And I'm going to be that person in your world who's going to ask you questions and stand beside you when times are challenging and try to notice when you aren't at your absolute best. My challenge question for you today is, how's your mental health? Are you good at assessing it? And how are you doing with contributing to your child's mental health? I hope this has given you a place for things to think about. And if you have questions or comments, please leave them for me. Thank you so much for being with me today on Paint a Beautiful Picture.
You may find additional information on our paintabeautifulpicture.com website. Additionally, you may watch me on Rumble, and you may also listen to a podcast on Buzzsprout or Spreaker, all under the name Paint a Beautiful Picture. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. You may subscribe, and if you are interested in receiving notifications, please hit the notifications button.